Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by former King of the Cage Middleweight champion Brad Burrick. Brad, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. Brad, your last fight was at King of the Cage Homecoming. That was back in September of last year. You defeated Chad Herrick. First, how did you feel about your performance in the fight? And second, how did it feel to get a little bit of bragging rights over a fellow Michigan fighter?
It felt pretty good. I mean, anytime you can win, you always feel good. But, he looked like a strong opponent. He had fought most of his career actually a weight class above me. Had the wrestling skills that I've had issues with in the past, so I was able to handle that and, get the W. So I felt pretty good about it.
You fought a lot of your fights recently at the Soaring Eagle Casino, which is where that last fight took place. How much do you enjoy fighting there?
Oh, I love the Soaring Eagle. It's not a far drive for me, so that's always great because friends and family can go out, but enough where you're kind of away. And it's nice that, the hotel and the casino are all attached together because you kind of park and stay there. And then the real nice thing about it is basically friends and family that come out, they can come out and eat and gamble, go watch the show, and then go off and do whatever they want, and it's a good environment for them.
You're a pretty rare case because a lot of the fighters in Michigan, they don't really get an opportunity, especially the guys that are starting out or, just turned pro. They don't really get an opportunity to fight in front of their, hometown or whatever, home state. But you fought a lot since you came back to the sport. You fought a lot in Michigan, so that's got to be pretty good, right?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of good opportunities with King of the Cage. They've been pretty nice to me. I was kind of brought up a little different than a lot of the fighters. I wasn't attached to one of the big teams or anything like that. I've kind of always done my own thing. For some reason, I think King of the Cage liked working with me, so I was able to get those opportunities, and I've enjoyed them all. So
now, looking forward, you're fighting Josh Bryant at King of the Cage Hostile Territory on June 22nd. How's training been going for the fight?
Good. It's kind of at the point where you're like, okay, let's get this over with.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I love training, but I like kind of like easing into it. We're in the more of the serious, trying to make sure I'm in shape and all that. So it's kind of at the point where, I'm ready to fight.
Your opponent, Josh Bryant, what are your thoughts about him?
It's kind of cool in this opponent because I have a lot of footage. The bad thing about that is a lot of footage out there because he's fought a lot of high-profile fights. He
Right.
has been an Ultimate Fighter, and
Right.
he has fought in the UFC before, so I think he has a good head about him. Seems like a really disciplined fighter, well-rounded, pretty mentally tough. So I think this is going to be a good challenge for me to see where I am. I'm getting a little bit older in my career, so it's kind of interesting to see, too, if I still got what it takes to kind of pick it up a level or if I don't.
Is it going to be a little bit different because now, for this fight, you're going to have to travel? In past fights that you've just had to, make the short drive and you're there, this time you're going to have to fly out there. Is that changing training a little or, preparation for the fight?
No, it's actually made things easier, and I spent the majority of my career I could say like the first part of my career in MMA, I was always going out of state because we weren't allowed to do it in Michigan, and we didn't have the casino option at that point. And then when I went to Sonic Kickboxing, it was always in New York City, so I was used to doing it. And the reason I say it's easier is I don't have to worry about promoting the event as much. I kind of fly in and able to do my thing, so that's kind of a nice option to have. Give me a quick break before hopefully we get another event back here.
Do you think it's a disadvantage for him because he's going to be fighting, in his hometown, basically, and, his fans are expecting him to win? Do you think that'll add a lot of pressure because you've done that before for your crowd? Is that going to be a factor in the fight?
Well, I would say his record speaks for that. I mean, he has one loss, and the majority of wins are in his hometown, so I definitely think him fighting at home is a benefit for him. It's probably something he enjoys. He feels more comfortable. I will have to go in and deal with that crowd, which I haven't done in a while. But expectation can always make or break. Fighting is a lot of mental, and I've had to learn that over the years. And guessing he's been around a long time and he's had that high level of training at the Ultimate Fighter, I'm sure it won't be an issue for him.
You're both pretty well-rounded. You're both experienced. What are you anticipating going in this fight? Are you anticipating, a true MMA fight where we see, some striking, we see some wrestling, we see some, submissions? Is that what you're kind of basing on, or do you expect something different?
It's kind of interesting because I watched a lot of his fights, and they seem like they become ground battles, but it's not like he presses the takedowns. It seems like he just kind of feels them and takes them. If you open up the opportunity, he'll take them. My main thing is just to be prepared for anything now. I'm later in my career, I made a lot of mistakes of not working on my ground game, where now I've been able to take that time and kind of slow things down and work on that. And what I want to do is be prepared for everything. I want to control the fight, but, the ideal situation doesn't always happen. So I want to be able to adapt to any situation, try to, win the fight.
I know you can't look past Josh Bryant, but during the time that you've been off, because you haven't fought since September, Sean Strickland is now the new King of the Cage Middleweight champion. Your eyes, was that kind of on that title again? Because remember, the 3 fights that you had with Brandon Hunt, there's not really a lot of interest for seeing a 4th fight. Now, does that kind of, motivated you to make another title run now that there's a new champion?
I try to take one fight at a time. I'm a little bit older now, so I want to make sure I do that. If that opportunity were to open up, I would definitely be interested in it. I've actually told King of the Cage I would be interested in even dropping a weight class, too, if that would align me, going for a title. So, whatever it takes, I enjoy fighting for a belt. It's something that interests me or gets me excited. So if I have that opportunity, sure, I would love it.
The 3 fights that you had with Brandon Hunt, Matt Hughes, when he fought BJ Penn, he said if he lost the 3rd fight, it felt like he lost 3 fights. Do you feel that way? Because it's 2-1 with him?
That's kind of an interesting... that 3rd fight was a hard one to stomach because I felt, on the scoreboards I was winning the fight, and then he just caught me with that one punch that changed it. But then again, I really can't be mad at anybody but myself because I'm the one that gave him the opportunity. He took advantage of it, and that's what Brandon is really good at. Is he looks for those opportunities and he's able to take advantage of them. That's how he was able to handle that or hold on to that belt for so long. And I just made that mistake. So it kind of sucks. It's the 3rd one, and I wish I could redo it, but I can't. I guess the thing as a fighter is learning to mentally deal with that stuff and move on and try to make yourself better. So what I try to take from that situation is to make myself a better fighter. Is it a bad taste in my mouth? Yeah, of course, no one likes to lose, especially in that manner. So
yeah, no one likes to lose, but does it kind of make it, I don't know, more of a bad situation or less of a bad situation that there was a finish to this trilogy? Like, we actually, got a solid finish, because in the first 2 fights, they were both 5-round decisions.
Yeah, that does suck on my part, especially when I was clearly winning the fight to that point, but I can't be mad at anybody but myself. I'm the one that made that mistake, and that's kind of the cool thing about MMA is fights can change that fast, but then again, I got to stomach it and move on with it because it's reality. I can't change it.
One thing that I've been curious about is I was looking at your record the other day, and I noticed from 2002 to 2006 you didn't compete. What went on during that time?
That's when I was a little frustrated with the sport. Things locally, we couldn't fight in the state of Michigan. They had completely banned us. You had to just travel and stuff like that. But I went and tried a sport called Sanda, or it's known as Sand Show. Basically, the person that represents that best is Kung Lee.
Right,
He came
right.
from that background. But I basically left the sport, and I tried it one time, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I enjoyed it. It fit my skill set at the time, my training. So I'm like, I'm going to make a run at this and see what happens. So I started doing that, and I kind of did it to the point, and the sport, there's not a lot of money on it compared to MMA, and while I was doing that, at the same time, MMA was kind of exploding it. So kind of got what I wanted out of Sanda, and then I looked over and I'm like, well, I'm not done competing, And actually, I was talking with Jason Ireland. He's the one that kind of like said, "Hey, well, why don't you go to Sterling? You go and fight for King of the Cage." So he's kind of the one that pushed me back into the whole thing, and I guess I haven't stopped yet. So,
Brad, how do you envision the fight ending with Josh Bryant?
I like to get a knockout if possible, either a knockout or a clean submission. I don't want to go to the decision if I don't have to. I like clean wins.
Brad, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, CageSiteMMA.com. They sponsor me. They send me gear and everything. They've been great to me over the years. And just want to thank, anybody that supported me over the years, and especially the guys coming out to train with me. These guys come out, they sacrifice their bodies and their time away from their family and friends, and I really appreciate it.
Brad, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck at King of the Cage Hostile Territory, June 22nd against Josh Bryant.
All right, well, thanks